A shocking day in the life of Postman Raj. Hello, my name is Raj, and I am the postman in the small town of Meadowbrook. It is a lovely place where everyone knows each other. Every day, I wake up early, put on my uniform, and grab my bicycle to start my delivery route. I love my job because I get to meet people and hear their stories. But little did I know that one ordinary Thursday would turn my world upside down. Chapter 1: A Typical Morning. The sun peeked over the rooftops, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I rode my bicycle down Maple Street, greeting Mrs. Patel as she watered her garden. "Good morning, Raj," she called out with a smile. I waved back, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. As I continued my route, I stopped at each house, collecting letters and delivering packages. There was Mr. Thompson, who always had a joke ready for me. "Why did the bicycle fall over?" he asked, grinning. "Because it was too tired." I laughed and shook my head, knowing I'd hear more jokes from him in the future. I stopped by the Smith's house, where little Timmy eagerly awaited his birthday card. "Do you have my card, Postman Raj?" he asked, bouncing on his toes. I reached into my bag and handed him the colorful envelope. "Happy birthday, Timmy," I cheered, and his eyes sparkled with joy. But as I pedaled further along my route, I felt an unusual weight in the air. It was as if something was about to happen, something that would change the course of my day. Chapter 2: The Old Johnson House. My next stop was the old Johnson house at the end of the street. It had been abandoned for years, and no one had lived there since Mrs. Johnson passed away. I always felt a little uneasy passing by, but I had a job to do. As I approached the mailbox, I noticed it was slightly open. Curious, I reached in and pulled out a letter. It was yellowed and worn, as if it had been sitting there for ages. The name on the envelope made my heart skip a beat to Mr. Edward Johnson. I remembered him as a kind man who lived in the house long before I became a postman. Against my better judgment, I opened the letter. As I read the words inside, I felt a chill run down my spine. The letter contained a confession, a shocking revelation about a crime that had been hidden for years. It spoke of betrayal, secrets, and a promise that had never been fulfilled. The details were vivid, painting a picture of a tragic event that had changed lives forever. Chapter 3: The Shocking Confession. The letter told of a night when Edward Johnson had discovered something terrible. It hinted at a crime committed in the dark corners of Meadowbrook, one that had been covered up for the sake of peace. I read the words over and over, trying to understand the gravity of what I had just uncovered. What should I do? I thought, my mind racing. Should I inform the police? Would they even believe me? I was just a postman, after all. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I couldn't just ignore it. The people of Meadowbrook deserved to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. As I stood there, the sun rose higher in the sky, casting a warm glow over the town. I knew I had to act quickly. I couldn't let fear hold me back. Chapter 4: Racing Against Time. With the letter tucked safely in my bag, I hopped back on my bicycle and set off toward the police station. My heart raced as I imagined the possible consequences of my discovery. Would this secret tear the town apart? Would the people I cared about be hurt by the truth? I took a deep breath and focused on pedaling. The wind whipped through my hair, but I pushed aside my fears. I had to get to the station and speak to Officer Maya, a friend of mine who had always supported me. She would know what to do. When I arrived at the station, I parked my bicycle and walked inside. The familiar smell of coffee filled the air, and I saw Officer Maya at her desk, typing away on her computer. She looked up and smiled. "Hey, Raj. What brings you here today?" I hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to begin. But then I decided to just dive in. "Maya, I found something unusual today. It's a letter. A confession about a crime that happened years ago. I think it's important." Her expression changed immediately, and she leaned forward. "What kind of confession?" I handed her the letter, my hands shaking slightly. As she read, I watched her face transform from curiosity to concern. "Raj, this is serious," she said, looking at me with wide eyes. "We need to investigate this further." Chapter 5: Uncovering the Truth. Maya and I spent the next few hours piecing together the details from the letter. It mentioned a secret meeting that took place in the woods outside of town, where a group of people had gathered to discuss the crime. I felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was no longer just about delivering mail, it was about uncovering the truth. We decided to visit the old Johnson house to look for more clues. As we walked through the creaking door, the dust danced in the air, and I could almost hear the whispers of the past. We searched every corner, hoping to find something that would help us understand what had happened all those years ago. Suddenly, Maya stopped and pointed to a loose floorboard. "Look here, Raj," she said, kneeling down to pry it open. I knelt beside her, and together we lifted the board to reveal a small hidden compartment. Inside lay a stack of old photographs and a small notebook. The photographs showed a group of people, laughing and smiling, but there was something off about them. I could see fear in their eyes, and it sent shivers down my spine. The notebook contained names and dates, each entry more chilling than the last. It was clear that we were getting closer to the truth. Chapter 6: The Confrontation. With our newfound evidence, we decided it was time to confront the townsfolk who had been mentioned in the letter. I felt a mix of dread and determination as we made our way to the town hall, where a community meeting was scheduled. As we entered the hall, I felt the weight of the truth heavy on my shoulders. The townspeople were gathered, chatting and laughing, unaware of the storm about to hit. I could see familiar faces: Mrs. Patel, Mr. Thompson, and little Timmy, all of whom had welcomed me with open arms. Maya stood beside me, her expression serious. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have something important to discuss," she said, her voice strong. "We have uncovered evidence of a crime that has been hidden for far too long." The chatter in the room faded as everyone turned to look at us, confusion and concern etched on their faces. I took a deep breath and continued. "This letter contains a confession about something terrible that happened in our town. We need to face it together." As I spoke, I could see disbelief in their eyes, but I pressed on. "We cannot let fear hold us back. The truth must come out, even if it hurts." Chapter 7: The Reckoning. Murmurs swept through the crowd as I finished speaking. Some faces were pale, while others looked angry. "How dare you bring this up?" shouted one man from the back. "You're ruining our town's reputation." I felt my heart race as I stood there, vulnerable and exposed. But Maya stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "This is about justice. We owe it to those who suffered to uncover the truth." The tension in the room was palpable. Then, to my surprise and ours, Patel stood up. "I remember that night," she said, her voice shaky. "I was there. We all were. We thought it was over, but it never really was it?" The room fell silent as she continued. "We buried our fears and pretended it didn't happen. But it's time to face the past and heal." With her words, others began to share their stories. The truth spilled out like a broken dam, and I listened as the townsfolk recounted their fears, regrets, and pain. Each story added another layer to the mystery, and the room filled with a mix of sorrow and relief. Chapter 8: The Healing Process. As the meeting came to a close, I felt a sense of unity among the townsfolk. We had faced the truth together, and though it was painful, it was also liberating. The dark cloud that had hung over Meadowbrook for years began to lift, and the people started to talk about how they could move forward. Maya and I decided to form a committee to help the town heal. We would hold meetings to discuss the past, share our feelings, and support each other. It wouldn't be easy, but we were ready to face whatever came next. In the days that followed, I continued my deliveries, but the atmosphere in Meadowbrook had changed. People were more open, more connected. I could see neighbors helping each other and families coming together. It was as if a weight had been lifted and the sun shone a little brighter. Chapter 9: A New Beginning. Months passed, and Meadowbrook slowly transformed. The townspeople were stronger than before, and I found joy in my job once again. I still visited the old Johnson house, but now it was filled with laughter instead of sorrow. I often thought about Edward Johnson and the letter that had changed everything. One day, while making my rounds, I received a package addressed to me. I opened it to find a beautiful plaque that read, "Thank you, Raj, for bringing the truth to light." My heart swelled with pride. It wasn't just about delivering mail anymore, it was about being a part of something greater. As I looked out at the town I loved, I realized that sometimes the most shocking days are the ones that led to healing and growth. I had learned that facing the truth, no matter how painful, could bring a community closer together. Conclusion. And so, my life as a postman continued, but it was no longer just about letters and packages. It was about stories, connections, and the strength of the human spirit. Every day, I rode through Meadowbrook, knowing that even the darkest secrets could lead to a brighter tomorrow. I smiled as I greeted the familiar faces of the townsfolk, feeling grateful for the journey we had taken together.